essence, 97% of the money we get from the state is related to salaries and benefits.
And you gotta admit, on average, that's a pretty high percent compared.
Yeah, but that's the state formula, and that's what it provides. But in terms of, well, let's think of it this way: if it's 85% of operations, and you're not in a deficit situation, and your revenues exceed your expenditures, so it would have to be something less than 85%.
And I know you, just so and I know we're not talking about this, but to voice my opinion, you mentioned about the technology, and I was all for that, and I don't want to forget, obviously we have the elementary technology program ahead of us, and I sure don't want anything to interfere with that.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, just shortly. I don't have a document in there. I wasn't able to get it together, but I still want us to talk about it.
Okay. Well, I may have some additional
That's
questions.
fine. We can pull stuff together for you.
As I go through this and look into tonight's.
We're being pretty thorough in our staffing, because I think we are getting ready to see some bumpy times with our state funding. So trying to be cautious
I understand.
next year.
Mr. Craig, the column in the Birmingham News Hoover section this week by John Anderson contained an implication that we were misusing some tax revenue, that we were not putting some tax revenue to its proper purposes. And I sort of put that into the theme that the Birmingham News talks about a lot, about lack of trust, and the suggestion being made now that not only do we meet in secret and hide, but that we are not spending money the correct way. And I'd like to ask you to address that, about spending money the correct way.
Well, with regard to the revenue raised by the 24 mil tax, we talked about how that was done in 2 stages. There's debate as to how that 10 mils worth of tax, that second phase was done in 1998, I believe. There's debate as to whether that was promised to be spent a certain way and only a certain way. I have always, as previous superintendents have, kind of balanced those resources between debt service and operations and lower pupil-teacher ratios, and invested those on balance for the benefit of the whole. The ballot itself was for public school purposes, the ballot and the notice. I talked with the tax attorney today that was involved in both of those elections. Both elections were very similarly done in terms of the wording. I don't know of any legal restrictions on those monies. With that said, as I said, 10 mils of that tax is worth, last year, about $14 million. Our debt service alone was 16. We spent about, in round numbers, about $4 million in technology. That's one of the other big rationales I've heard that was passed out with regard to that tax base. So, did that answer your question? I hope.
I think it answers mine. I would like to suggest that you might want to have initiate a conversation with Mr. Anderson and be sure he has all complete information and for any questions that he may have about it.
Yeah. And we had a conversation, and he wrote an article, back in 1990. I can't remember the date, but it was pretty on target. It has been used to fund things like that.
What's pretty on target?
I mean, the assessment, who he had interviewed, I think he interviewed Dr. Williams, and she indicated that in the article that it was invested operationally to have lower people-to-teacher ratios and build buildings at the same
Are
time.
you referring to this column this week?
No, I'm referring to a previous article that he wrote.
That's what I meant.
on the
You lost
subject.
me. I couldn't
I'm
tell
sorry,
which
I'm sorry.
thing you were
I think
talking about.
his column referred to that article.
Anyhow, let's just make sure that we're proactive at providing information, and I have no doubt myself, based on what I know, that money's being spent the way it was intended and approved by the citizens. But let's make sure that everyone has access to all the information and get a chance to discuss it with those of you who have those documents and can pull that together for us. Thank you.